there are hot spots and slow spots, and where when you look at the graphs of how collaborative law has grown or not grown. You know, the Midwest has been relatively slow. The mountain area, relatively slow. There's still states up there that don't have any collaborative law that I know of. Montana and Idaho, some of those countries or states. The East Coast was slow. California, of course, bing, 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 almost all up and down the coast, particularly in the San Francisco area. I probably did 8 or 9 trainings in San Francisco area, different locations, with groups getting started, because they grasp it real well. I think it was an advantage that this started in Minnesota. If it started in California, people would say, oh, it's one of those new age things, keep away from it, you know. But Minnesota, you know, wow, maybe there's something to it.
So where have you trained now?
Pardon?
Where have you trained?
Oh.
I have done trainings.
Yeah, I've done trainings in probably 30 states. Vienna, Australia. Australia was a wonderful, we trained in several different places there, Canberra and Sydney. And now it's quite opened up. There's a number of places now having had trainings. So that's great. You look and see where there haven't been trainings that are sort of like a head scratchers, like the whole South America and Central America, you know, is sort of like nothing's happening there yet. We even had some inquiries in Africa, different places in Africa. England, we did train in England. Then we had a wonderful training in Ireland, or conference in Ireland earlier this year. It was marvelous. And to see these people from other countries being able to connect solidly with the same principle, you know, it is really exciting. It's not like anything, like not much, in many cases, nothing much has to be converted. You can take it whole cloth. They might have a few things in their laws that have to be changed, but for the most part, they can just pick it up and do it. Our Ireland conference last spring, there were 16 countries represented. So that's really quite dramatic, including Israel. So it's very gratifying to see that something is making law better, that something is helping people. You know, it's like, from my Buddhist background, it's like everything you do is for the benefit of all sentient beings. And that's exactly what's happening with the collaborative law. You're putting it out there for the benefit of all sentient beings. It may not reach them, but you're putting it out there for that purpose. And so it's just a good solid feeling. And the most important thing that I have, from my standpoint, is to let go. Get out of the way of it. I see too many cases of the founders syndrome, where founders can't let go of their baby and consequently squelch the ability of other people to make it grow. And that's one of the keys. Well, my spiritual path for the last, coincidentally, almost coincidentally with the start of collaboration, has been Buddhism. I've been involved with a little Buddhist center since that time, and for the last 10 or 12 years I've been director of that center. And Buddhism fits so well with collaborative law and collaborative divorce because it's a mind thing. It's if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of Buddhism, it's tame your mind and find and drop off to the extent you can with practices the things that get between you and who you are. You know, and then Buddha, they call the Buddha nature, but every religion has their own name for our center, and that's who we are. And then we have all this stuff that's layered on that we need to learn to drop off. And what's great about Buddhism is that Buddhism has practices that help you do that. So many times you can say, be nice, but you don't have a practice to help you be nice. And so learn to have practices you can actually do. I'm going to make a pitch right now for a book I just finished reading by a young man who had a horrible divorce. He discovered Buddhism after the divorce, when he's going through all kinds of pain, and he's written this book. And the name of the book is The Sky is Not Harmed by the Storms. And it's a wonderful metaphor. And he did a very, very excellent job in the book of looking at different Buddhist practices that helped him get more centered and finally be able to forgive his spouse and this kind of thing. So I recommend that book to anybody to check it out. The other nice thing about Buddhism is you don't have to give up your other religion to do it. Well, Ron Oski and I have written a book called The Collaborative Way to Divorce. And how that came about is Ron gave me a call one day and said, we should do a book. So we started meeting at one of the restaurants, local restaurants, periodically, and worked on what they call, initial presentation to submit to a publisher. And we had that about 90% done when there was an article in the New York Times on collaborative law, and my name was mentioned. And the next day, I got an email from a publisher and an agent. And so I met with Ron. We said, yeah, let's go over there. It was a good publisher. And we said, okay. We said, well, we'll send you a presentation. Of course, we had it practically all done, so it was very, very good timing. And so we worked with that publisher. We submitted a first draft. And the idea was that this was going to be a book for the consumer, not for the lawyers. So we sent the draft into the publisher, and they came back and said, no, that's not it. We lawyers have a tendency to use too much legalese. And so we had to do some work to get it down to it shouldn't be, maybe up to the level of that the consumer could work with it. So it was painful to get that kind of first initial draft back, but that's exactly what had to happen, and it's what makes the book work. And Ron added a very good thing in the book about a little test. I think on about page 36 of the book, following that, he's got a test to ask people if they're appropriate for collaborative law, and gives them from 1 to 5 on different scales. So taking responsibility, they're willing to trust their partner, different things. And so it kind of takes it out of just the thinking about it and makes it look at something that they can see whether this is going to work for them or not.